My family poops big. Maybe it's genetic, maybe it's our diet. But everyone births giant logs of crap. If anyone has laid a mega poop, you know that sometimes it won't flush. It lays across the hole at the bottom of the bowl, and the vortex of draining water merely gives it a spin as it mocks you. Growing up, this is a common enough occurrence that our family had a poop knife. It was an old rusty
Jesus.
kitchen knife that hung on a nail in the laundry room, only to be used for this purpose. It was normal to walk through the hallway and have someone call out, "Hey, can you get me the poop knife?" I thought it was standard kit. You have a plunger, your toilet brush, and your poop knife. Fast forward to 22. It's been a day or two between poops, and I'm over at a friend's house. My friend was the local dealer and always had guests over. Because you can't buy weed without sitting your ass and sampling it for an hour. I
It's
excuse
true. I
myself
hate
and
that.
lay a gigantic turd. I look down and see that it's a sideways one. So I crack the door and call out for my friend. He arrives and I ask him for his poop knife. My what? Your poop knife, I say. I need to use it, please.
Please.
What what the fuck is a poop knife? Obviously he has one, but maybe he calls it by a more delicate name. A fecal cleaver? A dung divider? A guano glaive? I explain what it is and I want it and why I want it. He starts giggling, then laughing, then lots of people start laughing. It turns out the music stopped, and everyone heard my pleas through the door. It also turns out that none of them had poop knives. It was just my fucked up family with their fucked up bowels. Fuck my life. I told this to my wife last night, who was amused and horrified at the same time. It turns out that she did not know what a poop knife was and has been using the old rusty knife hanging in the utility closet as a basic utility knife. Thankfully, she didn't cook with it, but used it to open Amazon boxes. She will be getting her own utility knife now. Edit. Common question. Why was this not in the bathroom instead of the laundry room? Answer. We only had one poop knife, and the laundry room was central to all three bathrooms. I have no idea we didn't have three poop knives, as all I know is that we didn't. We had one. Possibly because my father was notoriously cheap about the weirdest things. So yes, we shared our poop knife.
That's fucking badass. Shoving a fucking
Family.
knife up your asshole. This is like Pain Olympics.
No, you
tier
shove it in the
badass.
you shove it in the bowl. What?
I don't know.
No,
I was
no.
just
You're.
imagining.
I thought you're dissecting the turd to see what's inside, like your diet and the.
I was only half paying attention, but I was imagining shoving a knife up my ass this whole time.
I cured
God.
my son of the big gay. The other day, he came home for Christmas with his new partner. I was excited to meet her and maybe meet her after my son fell asleep. But imagine my horror when it turned out to be another man. I immediately started to protest, but all my son said, "Dad, this is who I am. Xander and I are in love." Without missing a beat, I turned around and said, "You forgot to say no homo." But my boy simply scoffed at me and said, "Actually, Dad, I am a homo. That's right. Your son is in love with another man." Then my son grabbed Xander's hand and looked at me defiantly. For a second, I was utterly devastated. But then I thought to myself, what would Trump do? So I stared straight at my son, penetrating his soul with my eyes, no homo, and said, "But that's gay." As soon as I uttered those fateful words, my son began to convulse. He dropped to the floor in some sort of manic state, spit pouring from his mouth, his eyes rolling into the back of his head. Xander tried to help him, but I pushed that dainty little queer away with my heteromative strength. After a full minute, my son opened his eyes and said, "Dad, you cured me of my homosexuality." And then with manly tears of joy in his eyes, he pointed to Xander and exclaims, "Let's get that homo!" After we wiped Xander's blood off our hands and threw that little fairy into the cold, my son and I sat down with a beer, watched some football. As we watched, my son turned to me and said, "Dad, I love you. No homo." No homo indeed, son, I replied. No homo indeed.
That was a good one. I like that.
That's a good one, right? Yeah. We cure them one by one because we
The
love
problem
you.
with all these, dude, the problem with all these
Trying to cure my boy.
Copypastas is they're all about like gay.
So
They're all
what?
like,
What
about
is the
someone
issue
being
here?
gay.
This is like 50%
I like
of our
my
podcast
next
as it
one-
is.
My next one is also the topic.
It's
Of
a
All right, I'm gonna do a very heterosexual one real quick.
All right.
This is what men do.
Hi, longtime lurker here. Finally decided to ask Reddit about my problem. I, a 17-year-old female, have been dating my boyfriend, who is an 18-year-old male, for roughly 5 months now. Everything has been going well, except for one problem. He keeps continuing to make fun of me doing regular quote-unquote woman things, makeup, hair, skincare, etc., by yelling, "Ha! Woman moment!" as loud as acceptable in that setting. If I'm having difficulty finding a decent outfit, I have lots of clothes. He will say it. If he sees me doing my makeup or taking it off, it's a woman moment! When I go to my therapy session, it's a woman moment! I can hardly live my life without it being called a woman moment! I've asked him multiple times to stop, but he refuses. His excuse is that it's just a joke, bro, and that I'm overreacting. It's driving me crazy. I just want him to stop. What do I do? How can I make him stop?
My mask is green.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It can be.
Look,
It's
everybody.
not green. That was very
Look,
clearly
look,
a black
Look,
mask.
everybody. I finally did it. I out-pizzaed the hut. It was the greatest mistake of my life. After years of perfecting my recipe, I'd made my way down to the local hut, fresh-baked pizza pie in hand. Try this, I told the kid working the counter. He did, and he had to agree that it was better than anything Pizza Hut had to offer. Soon, the entire store, customers included, were feasting on my delicious pie. The manager walked over, he grabbed a slice, and he took a bite. I looked at him, anticipation rising. This was the boss, the local fief lord of the hut. His approval meant more to me than all the rest combined. He took a bite and he nodded. "I'll be damned," he said. "You really did it. You out-pizzaed the hut." Shame. Shame? What did he mean by that? The manager pulled a gun out from behind his apron and shot the nearest customer in the head. "We have a code, jalapeno," he said into his wrist as he executed the remaining customers. "I repeat, we have a code, jalapeno." The ground was slick with blood. The kid working the counter choked out his dying breath as the manager turned to me. "You just had to do it, motherfucker. You just had to out-pizza the hut." He shoved the gun in my face. I was too scared to fight, too scared to run. The manager pulled the trigger. A click. The gun was empty. I threw a chair at the manager and scrambled out of the Pizza Hut, not even bothering to see if my missile hit its mark. I was closely pursued by the manager, who had gotten his hands on a deadly sharp pizza cutter. I suspected in his hands it would cut more than pizza. Somehow, I was able to get into my car and speed off, the manager cursing my existence as I left him behind. I took a deep breath. The manager was clearly psychotic. Yes, that was it. Just a crazy man with a gun. It had to be. My phone rang. My sister. I picked it up. "They're dead," she sobbed. "They're all dead. Mom, Dad, Chris, Bill, dead. They killed them all." I could barely understand her, so great were her sobs. "What do you mean? Where are you?" I asked urgently. How is this possible?" A single gunshot sounded through my phone speaker, and silence. Then I heard a man's voice. "No one out-pizzas the hut." He hung up. I drove down the empty county road, mind blank. I had nothing. They killed my family. I was alone. At that moment, I knew what I had to do. They took everything from me. Well then, I would take everything from them. Pizza Hut was so terrified of being out-pizzaed, they forgot there is one thing worse than a man with a recipe. A man with nothing to lose. I'll give them a limited time offer they won't be able to refuse. 2 bullets for the price of 1, with a free side order of pain.
Shitty one.
Thank you.
I was just paying union dues for the union of this gay ass podcast.
Okay.
Hey, it's getting hot, bro. There ain't nothing gay about fucking.
Yakov just read a
mitochondria.
copypasta about being cummed in and didn't say no homo at the end.
I'll never.
That's
I will
gay.
never say no homo.
You're the fucking
everybody,
homo.
Look, everybody. I was wearing some regular underwear today because all my boxers were dirty. Also, some loose, thin pants because it was pretty warm out. Anyway, I'm in class when the teacher asked me to come up to the board to read part of the book. I'm a bit nervous because I don't like public speaking, but whatever. I start reading. I notice I have to read 2 fucking pages of this shit. I start fucking up some words and get a mini anxiety attack, followed by an ever-growing boner, which looks bigger because underwear bunches up your balls and cock. I think whatever bitches I think whatever bitches will just think my cock is huge. So great success. I love that. The Borat reference really dates this fucking thing. The thing is, I start looking at some of the hotter girls in class in their yoga pants with their legs crossed. My boner gets bigger, and it's starting to become noticeable. I hear some people say in the class something and smiling. At this point, I'm nervous as fuck. I can feel my face becoming red. I fumble with the words because all this compression in my underwear starts to feel good. At the same time, it's uncomfortable as fuck. I read some more, and out of nowhere, I say to the teacher, I can't do this anymore. Can I sit down? She says no and tells me to finish. My knees start to weaken as I feel an orgasm starting to develop. I yell to the teacher, I have to go now! The class starts laughing, and the girls say to put your boner away. Now the whole class is in tears laughing, and tears of pain start to roll down my eyes, but yet my penis is about to explode semen. I run to the door and try to open the doorknob, but for some reason it doesn't open. I hear comments like, he's gone fucking insane. I don't know what comes over me, but I accept my new role as crazy. I rip open my pants and yell, this is so fucking uncomfortable, and whip out my cock. Everybody gasps and yells, oh my god. I start pulling on it, and within seconds, I start to explode. The teacher runs over and tries to stop me, but I just end up jizzing on her. Then a couple people in the front row. Everybody's screaming, and security comes in and points a gun at me and tells me to get on the ground. I make large cum stain on the floor while I am dragged away.
Make cum stain.
That
I want to hear
there's
some accent that I should be reading that in, and I don't know what it is, but
I
it
don't
would have
know.
made it funny.
Dude, that Borat reference got me thinking. Like, if we could remake Borat, only, you know how, like, oh, it's the fish out of water. He's from, like, Kazakhstan. He doesn't understand societal norms. What if the only societal norm he didn't understand was that you're not allowed to be a pedophile here? So, like, when he comes over, he gets all of the pop culture references and everything, but he just can't get through his head that it's wrong to fuck kids.
Very fun.
You have
movie.
American school over there. Why don't you just go and take the children?
God. So, I was taking a crap in the Jewel room. If you didn't know, they have toilets in there. Sorry, I had to hit the Jewel very quick. And after I was done, I decided to take a hit. Lo and behold, it goes down the wrong pipe. No, I didn't learn until later that you weren't supposed to swallow the entire Jewel stick. And you were supposed to suck on it. But somebody really should have told me, because I started choking and fell to the floor, grasping my neck. Luckily for me, somebody happened to walk into the Jewel room before I actually died, and they promptly helped me get the Jewel stick out of my throat. I thanked him, and he asked me what was going on in my pants. I looked down. They were wet, but not a loose kind of wet. They were sticky. I had just busted the biggest nut of my life. Now I can't stop every time I masturbate and cry myself to sleep in my room. I have to stick a finger or something down my throat to get off. And what's worse, I can't fuck my cat anymore because she is hard enough to fuck with both hands. It's impossible to fuck her with one hand, so I can use the other to gag myself. Lately, I find myself getting closer and closer to death as I have to dress up as Batman and tie a belt around my neck very tightly to even pop half a chub. One of these days, I'm going to die in my room dressed up as Batman with a tight belt around my neck, and it's all because of Jewel.
Is David
And that-
Carradine?
That child grew up that child grew up to be the singer of Sublime.
That was the best one of the night. That was funny as fuck. Holy shit, I love my Jewel.